Hello and welcome to Statspro Schools Rugby. My name is Rian Bannert and with me I've got Charles Greef. And in this program we will look at results of past weeks. We will look at player profiles. We will discuss tries of last week. We will announce our Statspro Team of the Week. And then we'll end the program by looking at the fixtures of next week. Thank you for everybody who has shared and liked and commented on our first episode. We're getting great feedback. Shall take us through this weekend's results.
Thank you very much, Rian. Yeah, this past weekend was a weekend packed with action. And we started in the Western Cape. Paul Boys had a hard-fought victory over Sachs in Newlands of 25-10. Big wins for Durbanville and for Oakdale, respectively. And also strong performances by Paul Jim and Paul Roos over their Southern Suburbs rivals. It will set up Paul Jim nicely for this weekend's inter-schools against Paul Boys High. DF Milan also had a very good victory away from home against Strand. If you look at the Eastern Cape, there were some big clashes there between Dale College and St Andrews, and a little bit of an upset there with Dale College beating St Andrews there by 40 points to 25. Dale had a bit of a stop-start season so far, so that'll be a good win for them over St Andrews. Has only had 2 losses this season so far. Then also a big victory for Graham College over Kingswood. And then Grey College travelled down to PE to play against Grey High and ran away with the game 60 points to 8. And finally, side has been proven almost unstoppable in the Eastern Cape. Selborne College had a massive win of 76-13 over Queen's College. So very good performance by the Selborne
boys. Both those games was televised. I personally watched the Grey College against Grey PE game, and they were brilliant. Their line speed is absolutely rapid, and their elusive prop, I think his name is Vessels. He had a stormer of a game, so very well done on Grey College's performance.
Yeah, I mean, they've always got wonderful forwards and wonderful to see them run with the ball. I mean, that elusive prop almost looks like a flanker. I mean, the way he carries the ball and he's able to pass the ball.
Offloads, yeah, it's amazing.
So then, if you look at the rest of the country, big derby in Pretoria between Office and Waterkloof. Office will be happy that they won that game after being upset by Waterkloof last year. Game between Jeppe and Kedge is always a massive game in Joburg, so Jeppe boys will be chuffed with that victory. And Maritzburg College is travelling up to Pretoria as well to beat Pretoria Boys High, always be seen as a good victory. And then lastly, Helpmakar's victory over Parktown, also a very good result after Parktown beat DHS last week. I'm sure Helpmakar would have been a little bit worried about that game.
Interesting, that is a good weekend for Statspro. Basically, Office and Waterkloof, both our clients played against each other, but for the rest, all our clients won, so well done to the boys.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be happy with that. And then lastly, if you look at some of the results on the Versekerbeker, big wins for Garsfontein and Monument in the cup competition. Menlo Park keeping their dreams alive of reaching the playoffs in the cup with a narrow victory over Transvalia. In the plate, good victories for Noordheuwel and Montana, in Elderrain. We'll look at a beautiful try in the Elderrain match just a little bit later, and a very good result for Marevo managing to have a draw against Rustenburg. In the Shield, High School Middelburg managed to beat Pietersburg, and a very good win for Oostmoed over Lichtenburg to make sure that they're still in the shout for a playoff position. If you look at the log on for the cup competition, you can see that Garsfontein is on top there on points difference over Helpmakar, and with them playing against Transvalia this weekend, it's really everything to play for, as well as Helpmakar and Monash playing against each other this weekend. I mean, positions 1 to 4 can be in any order come the end of this weekend, and Menlo Park must be hoping to have an outside chance of still making the playoffs.
Right, that is a wrap of our last week's results. Let us have a look at the next week or last week's tries. There was some brilliant interplay between the Wynberg Boys Eye outside backs. Well done and congratulations to Craig Charles and Justin van Winkel with the good work that they're doing there. With me I've got Andries Karstens. Andries, vat ons die 3 asseblief man.
Ja, dankie Rian, lekker om weer hier te wees. Die 3 van Said Fakir was uit die aard van die saak nie die enigste 3 wat Wynberg in die oortuigende oorwinning gedruk het nie. As 'n hele klompie 3 wat op die Facebook bladsy is wat julle gaan kyk. Maar ons hou daarvan om 'n paar 3 te vat, uit te lig, na 'n paar spesifieke dinge te kyk. In hierdie 3 as ons weer sien hoe mooi hou die Wynberg spelers die bal lewendig. Skuif hom binne toe, buitentoe, kyk wat 'n speler is in spasie. Gee hom vir daai speler en word baie mooi afgerond. Hier is hy. Dis wat ons graag die kykers wil wys. Rugby is 'n spansport, kom ons help mekaar om lekker mooi die bal lewendig te hou en dan te gaan afrond. Die volgende 3 waarna ons gaan kyk is in daardie groot derby-wedstryd tussen Affies en Waterkloof. Kom ons kyk gou na daardie pragtige 3.
Andries, die Waterkloof Affies game is een van die grootste in Pretoria. Praat ons deur die 3.
Ja, wat vir my baie mooi aan hierdie 3 was, is kyk wie gee die laaste aangee. Dis Janko Uys, die hakker van Affies, wat sien sy vleuels oop aan die buitekant. En met sy linkerhand, die Nieu-Zeelandse kommentator sou altyd daarvan om so opgewonde te raak van 'n left to right pass. Dis presies wat daar gebeur het. Met sy linkerhand gee hy 'n oorgee aangee, sy vleuels in spasie en gaan rondaf. Dis wat 'n afrigter wil hê. Daai ure wat ons spandeer aan die vaardighede, so kritiese oomblik. Dit was 'n baie tight wedstryd geweest. Dit was nie 'n weggooioorwinning vir Affies nie op die tuisveld van Waterkloof. Is dit nodig dat jy jou geleenthede gebruik. En welgedaan, Janko was ook vanjaar die Bloubulle se Kruiwenbeekhakker, so verseker 'n blink toekoms vir daardie jong man. Volgende wedstryd skuif ons bietjie af Kaap toe na die strand. Kom ons gaan kyk wat het die strand gemaak teen DF Malan die afgelope naweek.
Dis om lekker as 'n oefenveld beweging werk. Jy kan sien hulle het hom geoefen. Dis 'n goeie bal agtertoe en dan vat glim deur die ander. Maar Andries, dis jou werk hier. Praat ons op deur.
Ja, nee, pragtig. In die strand is dit nie altyd maklik met die wind wat daar waai om so agter in die lynstand in te gooi nie. Kondisies het dit toegelaat en albei spanne baie mooi rugby opgedis die dag. Wat ek graag daar wil uitlig is, kyk die vaardighede van die heel agter wat in daai beweging loskakel gespeel het om die laaste verdediger te klop. Kom ons kyk gebeur daarna. Hy speel die bal vir sy flank wat 'n mooi hoek aanhardloop speel terug en kyk hoe klop hy met pragtige voetwerk die heel agter in daardie beweging. Die volgende 3 waarna ons gaan kyk, Rian, is amper iets soortgelyk. Ons skuif nou weer noorde toe waar Eldorein teen Montana gespeel het. Ook 'n baie aanskoulike wedstryd. Klomp 3, mooi, dan drukkie een span, dan drukkie ander span. Gaan kyk gerus ook daardie 3 op die Facebook bladsy. Kom ons hou gedop wat daar gebeur spesifiek hier met die rekeningsentrum.
Nou, druk is Shane Bolton. Hy is al 'n hele paar keer in ons span van die wedstryd gewees, so hopelik 'n blink toekoms vir hom. Ek is nie seker wat hy nou na skool gaan doen nie. Maar ja, dit is nou wat ons gou weer die 3.
Ja, Shane natuurlik ook vir die Bloubulle se akademiespan gespeel by die Kruiwenweek. Wat vir my so mooi is hy sien die gaping wat voor hom oopgaan. Hy vat die gaping en dan is daar nog een verdediger wat hy iets mee moet doen. Nou Shane is 'n groot seun. Kyk hoe mooi speel Shane. Kom ons kyk gou weer daarna wat Shane daar doen as hy die bal kry. Kyk, ek sien die gaping voor hom. Die laaste verdediger en hy gebruik sy voetwerk om op te klop. Hy kan gebeur Want dit is so belangrik om daai vaardigheid te hê om jou voete te gebruik om 'n verdediger te klop. Jare gelede, ek nou nog 'n jong man was wat rugby gespeel het, ek eendag 'n afrigtingskursus van Dani Gerber bygewoon het. Rian, jy sal vir Dani onthou, absolute legende in Suid-Afrikaanse rugby. Selfde, Dani was groot, sterk, vinnig geweest. Maar het ons almal so opgewonde gemaak het as daai voetwerk wat hy gehad het om verdedigers met die linkervoet of die regtervoet te klop. En belangrik, wat Dani daar vir ons gesê, ek is nie gebore hier nie. Ek het dit geoefen. Wanneer ek 'n kans gekry het, het ek my aftrappe geoefen. En ek wil dit graag vir die seuns sê, vir die ouers sê daar buitekant, laat jou seun daai vaardighede ontwikkel. Daai vaardigheid wat Janko gewys het, om albei kante toe 'n bal te kan uitgee, en die vaardighede wat hierdie seuns gewys het, om 'n verdediger, maak nie saak hoe groot of hoe vinnig daai verdediger was nie, met goeie voetwerk kan jy enigiemand klop, en rond albei van hulle pragtig drieë af.
Nou, Doring Dani, een van my gunsteling drieë van alle tye, hy het teen Ierland gedruk. Hy het net na die 22 het hy 2 ure gesidestep en hulle het mekaar vasgehardloop en hy's om hulle en teen tyd dat hy onder die palle was, het hulle nog steeds nie opgestaan nie. Goeie herinneringe daai.
Ek onthou daai 3. Rian, wat fantasties was aan daai 3 is dat hy na albei kante toe afgetrap het. Partykeer verkies 'n speler om net na een kant toe af te trap, maar daai spesifieke beweging, seuns dit wil gaan kyk, het hy sy linkervoet en sy regtervoet gebruik om na beide kante toe af te trap. Dani was fantasties geweest.
Ek wil net ons moet kyk na die drieë en gaan kyk na die hoeveelheid van drieë wat van lynstane afkom en dan gaan kyk na hoeveel van daai lynstane was gekontest en ek dink nie daar gaan baie wees nie. So kom ons gaan kyk nou deur. Ek mag nou verkeerd wees met die volgende 3 van gym, maar sure, Andries, hierdie span lyk baie goed afgerig. Mense kan regtig sien, hulle weet wat hulle doen, van die lynstaan af, deur al die fases. Dit lyk soos 'n ding wat hulle geoefen het op die veld. Baie geluk, Pieter en Helmut vir die werk wat julle daar doen. Kom ons kyk na Paul Roos se drie. Weer kan jy sien dat dit 'n goed geoefende beweging is. Die buitesenter, 'n bus wat die bal oor die voordeellyn kry, ons kry vinnige bal terug en dan die bal wat vinnig deur die ander gaan tot by die vleuel wat oorduik in die hoekie. Baie geluk aan Paul Roos. Okay, that's a wrap from our tries of the week. Let's have a look at this week's statistics segment. Right, let us have a look at the total points scored in school rugby per year. So this is an overview of all the work that we've done at under 19A level, basically. Okay, Shal, top left, we look at the total points per year for us and them. So this is a good advert for Statspro. Now you can see the blue line is basically the points scored by our clients and the red line is the points scored against them. Per year, you can see a trend of the rest of the schools catching up, but our clients still maintaining a good, healthy margin. Below that, our average tries per game per year for us and them, it basically follows the same trend line as the graph above, and you can see that there's about 1 try every 2 games more scored this year than in 2014. If we now look at the next slide, that is the total points after time. So basically we've divided the game into 4 segments. So we're looking at 17 minutes, 35, 52 and 70. And this graph just shows us what the points increases is per quarter of the game. So there's not much to read into this graph other than in 2016 the graph has showed a steady incline. In 2017 it dropped a bit, in 2018 we're picking it up again. If we have to interpret that, we would probably think that the rule and the interpretation and the playing style has changed since about 2016 when the New Zealand teams started running from all over and not kicking it back basically to the Bulls. So rugby has changed since then. I think 2017 school coaches were still in two minds whether they should play a more conservative style of rugby or whether they should attack. And this year you've seen a lot of games it's all out running from all over.
Yeah, and I think also something that might be taken into consideration is maybe a little bit of the weather as well. I mean, this year predominantly has been probably dry conditions throughout the country, especially in the Cape as well. There's probably been also a good reason for the scoring going up. But I think it will be very interesting to see in 2019 whether that tendency of the scoring going up will continue, sort of coaches becoming more comfortable with the style of play, and whether the players adjust to it or continue to adjust to this as well, and that the scoring will continue to increase by next year.
Right, so if we look at the graph at the next graph, it's basically the most interesting one of the lot. If you look at, so just to explain this graph for you, this is the points per time slot in the game. So basically we're looking, the interesting one is the red line. That is the last 17 minutes of the game. Now, what we have experienced, if we look at that, in 2014 and 15, in the last 17 minutes of the game, teams would have scored 3.2 points for that time slot. 2016 and 17, it went up to about 5 points for that time slot, and now in 2018, it is 7.5 points for 17 minutes. Now, I interpret this as the coaches have adopted the what is now 2-4-2 pattern, where the forwards are split up across the field, and a lot more passes and a lot more offloads are being made. So the teams are getting more tired early on, and therefore there's more space in the last 17 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and I also think that there's a lot of the teams that are better conditioned as well, which means that they'll be able to take advantage of weaker teams or teams that are not as well conditioned, and then that last quarter of the game it is easier for them to score points. And again, I think it's another one of those which over maybe a 5 or 6 year period will be good to keep an eye on, and see whether that number kind of flatlines or whether it continues to increase as players' conditioning continues to improve.
I think for sure. I think the teams are much better conditioned now than they were 4 or 5 years ago. So therefore, yes. Also, at international rugby, the trend is to score most of your points in the last 20 minutes of the game. It's basically just like we're seeing here. Our next segment is the visual CV of Max Williamson. Max plays scrum off for his high school in Lichtenburg. He was also at the Craven Week where he represented the Leopards. He's coached at school by Michael Bondizio, and Michael speaks very highly of his work rate and his coachability. As you can see in the video, Max has got a strong pass, a good foot, but his main asset is his speed and his strength. He comes at you all day and he snipes. So if you play against him, you really have to be on point to keep him contained. Let's have a look. After loading this visual CV of Max Williamson's on YouTube, Michael phoned me and told me he got 3 phone calls from 3 different unions, including the Bulls and the Sharks. So well done, and Max, if you can see this, make good life choices, and all the best. We'll keep an eye out for you. If you want your visual CV done, send us an email at info@statspro.co.za, and we can discuss the offering that we can give to you. Next up on the show is the Statspro Team of the Week. This team is selected purely on a fantasy league based algorithm where players gain and loses points based on the actions on their field. If they make tackles and carry the ball, they get points, and if they miss tackles and concede penalties, etc., then they lose points. Let's have a look at the team. First up, the forwards. Jay Wessels from Grey College, like I called it earlier in the show, he had a blinder. Then Andries' favourite player, Mr. Ace from Office, well done. And then Brink from DF Milan. DF Milan is one of the 3 players in the team that is from a smaller school. The rest are all from your more professional or what shall I say, the bigger rugby schools.
So and I see a lock. We've got both the boys from Paul Boisai, Van Heerden and Alberts. I mean, both of them got a high work rate. I'm sure we'll see them again in this week, in this week's Team of the Week.
And then on flanks, we've got the 2 Boland Landbou flanks. So in that game, Stellenberg had about a 70% of the ball. So they were probably there on their work rate, and probably there because they tackled quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, in that game, I mean, Stellenberg conceded about 3 long-range tries that put Landbou quite comfortably into the lead, and I mean, for the rest of the game, those boys from Landbou had to defend, and I mean, it's not a surprise to see their 2 flankers being prominent in the Team of the Week. I
spoke to Wolf, and the team really prides himself on defence, so well done. It seems to work for them. Right, if we now look at the backs. On the scrum off is Otto from Belleville, and then Duplessis from Grey College. Now, Grey College, I had a look at that game, and Grey PE tried to box him in there. They tried to press hard on the outside. He just stepped and got across the gain line with ease. He scored a couple of tries in the game, so very well done. Yeah, he just looks one of those players that's always got the extra bit of time. I mean, obviously played SA schools as well. I mean, he just looks like a class fly-off. And I'm sure we'll still see him for many years to come in South African rugby. I think in the game against Glenwood, that's going to be quite a vital player to contain if Glenwood is going to create an upset. Yeah, and then as we mentioned earlier, it's so unfortunate that that he won't be available for Grey College in the game against Paul Roos when the 2 of them meet on the 18th of August in Bloemfontein. Interesting, in this team, another 2 Grey College players, they ran riot. It was such a pleasure to watch them play against Grey PE. Then Tariq Maynard from DF Milan at 15, he's really got great feet, so a joy to watch him run with the ball. Let's look at the fixtures of next weekend. Charles, take it away.
Thank you, Rian. Yeah, of course, this weekend it's the big annual Paul inter-schools between Paul Boisai and Paul Gym. Traditionally the first Saturday in August, and this whole weekend Paul come to a standstill as these 2 teams have their annual clash. Personally, I think Gym should be considered the favourites for this game, but at inter-schools you never know who's going to win that game.
Anything can happen. 25,000 people, it's a lot of pressure. It's like a test. I don't know if you've probably been there.
Yeah, I mean it's a whole day of festival. I mean anything, like you say, anything can happen. Always near the end of the game, shadows starting to get a bit long. Anything can happen late in that game. So always a must watch for any school rugby enthusiast. Then some of the other games in the Western Cape, the Southern Suburbs schools starting their second round of matches against each other. Wynberg hosting Rondebosch and Sachs hosting Bishops. Those should all be very good matches. Also a game that I'm looking forward to seeing the results for is Outeniqua travelling down to Durbanville. Durbanville the last few years have been much improved side, especially the juniors there. There'll be some big clashes there.
And Polroos, Paul and Landbou. I know they always play their game and then they get to Forest Street as soon as they can to go watch the Paul Interschools.
Yeah, and also one of those games that might be a bit of a tricky situation for Polroos. It's the game before the big game against the Grey College. Landbou always like to save the best game for Polroos, so I think it'll be as always a tough out for Polroos to beat the Farmers there on the Makotter fields.
I think the previous Polroos rector went for a very long time without beating Landbou at Landbou. I think that was the case.
Yeah, last year I think was the first time in, I think might have been almost 10 years that the Polroos beat Landbou on the farm. So I'm sure they want to try and make it 2 in a row against them this weekend. Other nice matches, Northern Suburbs game between Stellenberg and Tygerberg. Stellenberg should take that one comfortably. And also a nice game between Brackenfell and Nieuwenhout of Wellington. That should also be quite a nice match. If you go forward to the Eastern Cape, again some Dale College will be on a high after the victory this past weekend against St Andrews. They're playing against Selborne College, who's been a bit of a juggernaut in the Eastern Cape.
That's a massive game.
So that'll be a massive game. I think Dale might be kind of being nice on the up there. Selborne, with a team full of Craven Week or Border Craven Week players, so that'll be a big game. Also a nice game will be between Marlow and Daniel Pinaar. Always a tough game to go and play away at Marlow. And then probably almost the pick of the games will be between St Andrews and Queen's College. Queen's will be looking to turn the season around a bit against a very strong St Andrews side. If I look at some of the fixtures for the rest of the country, I think you can almost one that you can circle around to make sure that you keep your eye on the results is the Grey College against Glenwood game. 2
unbeaten teams, everything to play for. That's going to be a big game, a proper.
Yeah, and I mean for Glenwood, I mean this is their final to the season. They've got a star-studded team, also loaded with Craven players, very deadly backline. And if they win this game, then they've got all the rights to claim the top school team for the year. Grey College, of course, this will be the last game they play with their full strength side before they have to have players play for their school side. So I think that'll also be a big game.
Glenwood also coming from Iowa, beating RTS Middelburg by 80 points last week. They lost their scrum off, I understand, not in this last week but earlier. So obviously he played the new scrum off, did quite a run.
Yeah, so I mean like it was a big win against Middelburg for them. It's unfortunate Indians got to their scrum off. I picked him to make the SA school side, so unfortunately he wasn't able to compete for that at Craven Week this year. Office against Pretoria Boys Eye, obviously. That's just across the road from each other, so I'm sure the area around Loftus will come to a standstill this Saturday. And then great clashes between Parktown and JP. I mean, Joburg Central, Derby there, and Kes travelling down to Maritzburg will also be quite a nice match to keep an eye on. Lastly, if you look at the Verseker Beker, I mean this is coming down to the wire now. This is the last week before the playoffs. As you mentioned earlier, Garsfontein and Transvaal playing against each other. Nelspruit and RTS Middelburg unfortunately playing for the wooden spoon in the cup competition, but in every game will be important when it comes to the overall standings to determine who goes down to the plate. This game might be the swing result for that. Menlo Park needs a victory against Ege Jansen if they have any chance of getting that 4th spot. And Helpekar and Monash are playing for a home semi-final. I mean, team that wins that game will be assured of a home semi-final, and I mean that'll mean a lot to them. Then if you look forward to some of the games in the plate, Centurion against Swartkop, Elderain, strong side that we can look forward to, and Noordheuwel against Montana. I mean those are all very, very competitive games. In the Shield, I mean, Ben Foster, unbeaten so far in the Shield. I mean, they're looking to end the season top against Petersburg. And then Lichtenberg, as you saw earlier, with their nuggety scrum half, Max Williamson, will be looking to get a good win over Huguenot in Gauteng. And then lastly, Oosmoed against Jeugland will also be a strong game in the Shield competition.
Thank you, Charles. That's the end of this week's program. Remember to like and share the program on our different social media platforms, and go to our Facebook page to look at all the tries that we filmed throughout the country. See you next week. Thank you.